So the spark of divinity has inherent in it this triune quality of omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence. And when we take that in, omnipresence, meaning all-pervading, and this all-pervadingness is saturated with omniscience, this all-knowingness, a capacity for wisdom, intelligence, and the knowing power to know everything that has ever been, because it was there. It's all present, not just in all things, but in all times. So the knowing power to know what has ever been, what is, in every realm of reality, and what will be. So this deep omniscience, this all-knowingness, knows every potential, every outcome, what is necessary. It knows what has been and what is to come and what is. It knows what's best because it knows the outcome and what's needed in order to reach that outcome. And omnipotence, all powerful, that nothing could happen without this power. It is the power to create, the power to sustain, and the power to dissolve and transform and transmute into something else. You can't have one of these without the other. They all work in conjunction. But when we start to hone in and really recognize these qualities in existence, and our lives begin to transform. They transform in ways that are unimaginable. The way that they've transformed me, the way I've come to understand these three qualities so far, and I know I'm just scratching the surface, is omnipresence. I like to start with that one. When I contemplate omnipresence, I see that this divine spark of intelligence, benevolence, and power is inherent in everything I see. Every molecule in the walls, the doorknobs, my clothes, in nature, the air, and in every other human being. This triune quality of omnipresence that is filled with benevolent intelligence and potency, power, exists. And because it exists, I have a desire to experience it, because in my current reality, I don't see it everywhere. I don't see it in every single moment, all the time, in every single thing. So I keep a curiosity and openness, and I pray, please reveal yourself to me. Let me see you in this human. Let me see you in this circumstance. Because the circumstances and the humans and the events and everything is saturated with the presence that has an intelligence of knowing what has ever been and what will always be, or what will to come, what is potentiality within this, what will manifest from that. It already knows it. And so there's this deep intelligence that I'm calling on, that even if I don't see it, I put in my heart please give me the eyes to see it, this presence that exists. And if I don't see it right now, have a recognition that it's there, and that if I keep looking for it underneath all the disguises. Rumi has a quote. He was a Sufi mystic, saint, and poet. And he said, "O divine beloved, your disguises do not fool me." And that's the essence of omnipresence to me, is this recognition that this power and intelligence pervades everything. And sometimes it comes around in many disguises, in disguises of trees, in disguises as friends, in disguises as enemies, in disguises of all kinds of things. But when I search for that thread, that presence, then the disguises, the challenges, the opportunities, all of these things, the multitude of diversity, they become a play, they become a disguise for the divine that is filled with intelligence and benevolence and love. And then I begin to see it more and more all around in everything. And everything becomes holy and sacred. Everything becomes holy and sacred. Becomes an opportunity to bow. An opportunity to rest in the knowing that I'm never separate, nor is anyone else. Sometimes we feel like it because we believe the disguise we've gotten. We see the way that this presence is manifesting or presenting itself in the form of this person or this situation or that relationship or this societal, or this pandemic, anything, right? But if we keep invoking, calling it forward, then it becomes more and more what we see. We're training ourselves to see beyond the surface and into something, the substratum, the unification. If someone keeps calling me a name, eventually those kind of qualities are going to come forward. So if someone were to keep saying, mom, mommy, mother, mom, eventually if someone were to keep calling me mom, mommy, that quality of being a mother is going to come forward and start to engage with the person that's calling me mommy. And the more that mommy quality comes out, the more it can express itself not just to that person that's calling me mommy, but the blossoming of mother and all the qualities that mother has start to come forward and start to be more of how I'm responding in this world. Similarly, if someone is calling me, I don't know, a bad word or something not nice, eventually or suddenly, depends on the word, that quality is going to come forward. Like, what? Who are you to say that? Blah, blah. And so I say that because we all have that experience when we've been, when someone calls on us and like, oh, you're the best friend I've ever had, then best friend qualities start to come forward. Or when someone says, you're just a bitch or something, I don't know, then we're like, well, yeah, So we experience this, but the same is happening constantly with the divine. When we look for that presence in everything, it starts to come forward. It's calling it forward because it's already there, it exists there. And we say, I know you're there. Please let me see you. Or if you don't know it's there, say, I've read in all the scriptures that there's an omnipresence, intelligent benevolence inherent in everything that's created everything. I don't experience it, but I want to. I want to know what all the scriptures are talking about, what all these yogis are talking about, what all these saints are talking about. I want to know that too. And you start to call it forward, so that when you're talking to your children or your husband or your wife or your friends or your coworkers or your political enemies or your whatever, or the stranger at the grocery store, your mechanic, instead of talking to the diversity, the personality, well, we're talking to the personality, but we're talking really to divinity. Like when you say hi, you can either be saying hi to that person and their personality, or you could internally be saying, hello, oh divineness that's inherent in this being, come forward. And surprisingly enough, it does. You start to interact with that more than the personality. And then you have omniscience. Omniscience is all-knowing. This all-knowingness. And when I contemplate omniscience, what happens for me is deep, deep trust starts to arise. Because I know that there is deep intelligence in everything that's happening. Things don't arise from nothing. There's an intelligence that supports and holds everything. And because the omniscience, meaning we're never outside of the presence of this power, everything that happens is also within it. And it's informed by this intelligence, this knowing, so that even if something seems bad happens, there's a trust. It's like there's something that supports this. There's a reason for this. And my personal belief is that there's no punishment. There's cause and effect. You may not like the effect, you might not like the consequence of the action, but it's not doled out as punishment. It's simply what is. If you mix yellow and blue together, you get green. If you wanted to get red, you may be disappointed, but there's perfection in the fact that it's green, because blue and yellow will always make green. So that's the intelligence. An intelligence that supports. Then also, it's an intelligence that knows you can never be separate. There's never a way to separate yourself from omnipresence. And so there's no fear. There's no fear. Everything happens for a reason. And I try to recognize that everything happens for a reason, and then look for the omnipresence, the presence in it. Then these two qualities merge inside myself, and it helps. It helps when I don't understand what's going on or why it's going on, or if I don't like what's going on. It helps to bring about a state of deep surrender and trust. And in that trust also comes clarity on right action. Recognizing that everything has divinity and intelligence in it doesn't mean that we just lay down and let everything happen. It means that we become an active participant from a state of trust and a state of looking for the divine, instead of from a state of fear and retraction and recoiling from what is. And then the last quality, omnipotence, all powerful, is this recognition that I'm not the doer. There is a power within me that is creating me, that is running my life. Every cell in my body is fueled by this power. It is, every heartbeat is beating because of this power. Every inhalation, every inspiration is happening due to the power of this. My ability to see the world is not because of my eyes, not because of my nervous system, not because of the electrical impulses happening. It is because there is a power using the instrument of my eyes, using the instrument of my nervous system and my brain. There's to see. Those are instruments, but it's not the reason. Because I can have eyes that don't have the power to see. I can have a brain that doesn't have the ability to comprehend or process what I see, right? So there is a power behind it, and that power is not mine. It's been given. It's a gift. And the same is true with everything. And you receive an idea, that's a power. That's the omnipotence. It's what gives rise to everything. It's the power behind it. And when I remember that, I can rest. Can rest in knowing that I'm not the doer. I'm being done. And then I become more of an instrument in the hands of the divine rather than trying to bend the material world to my will. I offer my will and say, "Oh, divine beloved, I have a will. You've given me a will. But because you're omnipotent, everything is within your power, then let me bind my will to yours. Let me submerge my will into yours. Let me combine them together so that they're not separate, so that what my will wills is your will, and there's no conflict. I'm not trying to make things go my way." There's the best example that I have of this, when I deeply, profoundly realized this, was when I was pregnant, recognizing that I did not have the intelligence or the power or ability to create a child. Yet here I am, I'm being, and without any doing on my part, a child was formed. The nervous system, the spine, all the organs, the fingers, the skin, all of the senses, everything was created through power. But I didn't know how to do that, nor did I do it. It was being done. And it was using my body and using my cells and my blood and my breath and my food and nourishment as tools to do it. But it certainly wasn't my own power. Similarly, after I gave birth and I was nursing my child, I realized, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to make milk. And yet here, milk is being made through me. And I don't know, this child doesn't know how to convert milk into muscle and bone and convert it into body tissue. And yet it's happening. It's just the power of life. That power is informed with intelligence, with knowing on how to do that, how to convert milk to tissue, how to convert food into our body, how to digest it, how to process it, assimilate it, excrete it. So this intelligence pervades all things, and this power pervades all things. So this triune quality of omniscience, omnipotence, omnipresence, it's profound when you long for 24/7 abiding state of connectedness. Because it's easy to forget, and it's easy to get lost, and it's easy to feel disconnected or alone, or just kind of like, what is this life all about? And contemplating these three qualities constantly puts my mind and my heart into such a lovely state. It's such a lovely state. It's filled with peace. It's not static or stagnant, and peace not being like just nothingness, peace being dynamic. So I wanted to share that. I wanted to share in case it might help someone else to transform your relationships, to know what it's like to see God or divinity or benevolent, intelligent, unconditional love in everything, and still keep your role as your roles. I'm still a mom, I'm still a wife, I'm still a daughter, I'm still a sister, I'm still a teacher, I'm still a student, I'm still a friend, I'm still a whatever. I still have these roles to play, but the roles are like the tools, the means to engage with people, and not really engage with people, but to engage with the divinity within those people. And that's the communion